Welcome to Bible Quizzes. Today's quiz is all about the Old Testament. Are you ready? Let's begin. 1. What was the name of the first son born to Adam and Eve? Abel, Seth, Cain, Enos. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Cain. Genesis 4:1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. 2. Who was the father of Methuselah, the longest lived man? Lamech, Enoch, Jared, Noah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Enoch, Genesis 5:21. And Enoch lived 60 and 5 years and begot Methuselah. 3. What is the specific name of the place where Jacob wrestled with God and was renamed Israel? Bethel, Peniel, Haran, Mahanaim. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Peniel, Genesis 32:30. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. 4. Which specific mountain did Moses strike to bring forth water for the Israelites? Mount Sinai, Mount Nebo, Mount Carmel, Mount Horeb. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Mount Horeb. Exodus 17:6. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. 5. Who was the king of the city of Salem who blessed Abram, and to whom Abram gave a tenth of all? Abimelech, Bera, Melchizedek, Adonizedek. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Melchizedek, Genesis 14:18-20. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. 6. Which prophet prophesied that a ruler would be born in Bethlehem, specifying it as Bethlehem Ephrathah? Micah, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Hosea. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Micah, Micah 5:2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. 7. In the vision of the valley of dry bones, which specific bone did the prophet Ezekiel mention first? Skull, foot, head, dry bones. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is dry bones, Ezekiel 37:4. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. 8. Which prophet foretold that the Messiah would be despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Isaiah, Isaiah 53:3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. 9. What was the exact age of Methuselah when he died, making him the longest lived person in the Bible? 900 years, 956 years, 943 years, 969 years. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is 969 years, Genesis 5:27, and all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. 10. What specific item did Gideon ask for as a sign from God before going into battle against the Midianites? A wet fleece on dry ground, a dry fleece on dry ground, a burning bush and a rainbow, a wet fleece on dry ground and a dry fleece on wet ground. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is a wet fleece on dry ground and a dry fleece on wet ground. Judges 6:37-40. Behold, I will put a fleece of wool on the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. 11. Who was the firstborn son of Jacob and Leah, who later lost his birthright due to his actions? Simeon, Levi, Reuben, Judah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Reuben, Genesis 35:22. And it came to pass when Israel dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. 12. Which tribe of Israel was almost exterminated in a civil war following the incident at Gibeah? Benjamin, Judah, Ephraim, Lazarus. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Benjamin, Judges 20:46-48. So that all which fell that day of Benjamin were 20 and 5,000 men that drew the sword. All these were men of valor. 13. What was a specific offering that Elijah used to challenge the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel? A bullock, a ram, a lamb, a goat. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is a bullock. 1 Kings 18:23. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. 14. Who was the prophet that predicted the exact number of years the Israelites would be in captivity in Babylon? Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jeremiah, Jeremiah 25:11. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. 15. Which prophet saw a vision of a flying scroll which symbolized the curse over the whole land? Malachi, Haggai, Amos, Zechariah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Zechariah, Zechariah 5:1-3. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? 16. Which law in the Mosaic Law prohibited the Israelites from wearing garments made of both wool and linen? Law of purity, law of the Nazarite, law of holiness, law of separation. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the law of separation. Deuteronomy 22:11. Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts as of woolen and linen together. 17. What specific part of the temple did King Uzziah unlawfully enter, resulting in his leprosy? The Holy of Holies, the altar of incense, the court of the priests, the inner court. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the altar of incense, 2 Chronicles 26:16-19. But when he was strong, his heart was lifted up to his destruction, for he transgressed against the Lord his God, and went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense upon the altar of incense. 18. What was the specific name of the golden calf that the Israelites worshipped in the wilderness? You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is, it is unnamed. Exodus 32:4. And he received them at their hand and fashioned it with a graving tool after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, This be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. 19. Who specifically was swallowed by the earth along with their followers for rebelling against Moses? Korah, Dathan, Abiram, all of the above. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is all of the above, Numbers 16:31-33. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. 20. What was the specific name of the place where Moses viewed the promised land before he died? Mount Sinai, Mount Nebo, Mount Pisgah, Mount Hermon. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Mount Pisgah, Deuteronomy 34:1. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan. 21. What specific tribe of Israel was set apart to serve as priests and were not given an inheritance of land? Levi, Judah, Ephraim, Benjamin. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Levi, Numbers 18:20-24. And the Lord spoke unto Aaron, Thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thine inheritance among the children of Israel. 22. Which prophet predicted that the Messiah would enter Jerusalem riding on a donkey, specifically a colt? Isaiah, Zechariah, Micah, Hosea. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Zechariah, Zechariah 9:9. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon a colt, the foal of an ass. 23. What specific event caused the sun to stand still in the sky according to the book of Joshua? The battle against the Amorites, the crossing of the Jordan, the fall of Jericho, the attack on Ai. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the battle against the Amorites, Joshua 10:12-13. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon. 24. Who was specifically responsible for the murder of Abner, the commander of Saul's army? Joab, Abishai, Asahel, Jonathan. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Joab, 2 Samuel 3:27. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in the gate to speak with him quietly, and smote him there under the fifth rib that he died for the blood of Asahel his brother. 25. Which judge of Israel made a vow to sacrifice the first thing that came out of his house if God gave him victory over the Ammonites? Zechariah, Jephthah, Jeremiah, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jephthah, Judges 11:30-31. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands. 26. What specific name was given to the altar that Gideon built after seeing the angel of the Lord face to face? Jehovah Nissi, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Shalom, El Roi. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jehovah Shalom, Judges 6:24. Then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet in Ophrah of the Abiezrites. 27. What specific vision did Ezekiel see by the river Chebar, which included the appearance of 4 living creatures? A valley of dry bones, a chariot of fire, a wheel within a wheel, a golden lampstand. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is a wheel within a wheel. Ezekiel 1:15-16. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. 28. In which tribe of Israel was the city of Shechem located? Judah, Ephraim, Benjamin, Manasseh. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Ephraim, Joshua 27. And they sanctified Kadesh in Galilee in Mount Naphtali, and Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and Kirjath-arba, which is Hebron, in the mountain of Judah. 29. Which 2 spies brought back a positive report about the land of Canaan? You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Caleb and Joshua, Numbers 14:6-7. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. 30. What was the name of the wife of Isaac who bore him 2 sons? Rachel, Leah, Rebekah, Sarah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Rebekah, Genesis 25:21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. 31. Which prophet's wife was named Gomer? Philip, Hosea, Amos, Zephaniah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Hosea, Hosea 1:3. So he went and took Gomer the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived and bare him a son. 32. What was the name of the woman who concealed the spies sent by Joshua in Jericho? Deborah, Rahab, Esther, Delilah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Rahab, Joshua 2:1. And Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. 33. Which king of Israel had a dream involving a statue made of different materials? Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Darius, Cyrus. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel 2:31. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. 34. What was the name of the king of Moab who sacrificed his eldest son during a battle against Israel? Balak, Eglon, Sihon, Mesha. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Sihon, 2 Kings 3:27. Then he took his eldest son that should have reigned in his stead and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. 35. Which prophet married a woman from a different nation, causing controversy among the Israelites? Ezekiel, Hosea, Nehemiah, Ezra. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Ezra, Ezra 10:2, and Shechaniah the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, answered and said unto Ezra, We have trespassed against our God, and have taken strange wives of the people of the land, yet now there is hope in Israel concerning this thing. 36. Who was the mother of King Hezekiah? Abijah, Athaliah, Ahijah, Zechariah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Abijah, 2 Kings 18:2. 20 and 5 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 20 and 9 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. 37. Which prophet had his children named as signs of the coming judgment on Israel? Jeremiah, Hosea, Micah, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Isaiah, Isaiah 8:3. And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Lord to me, Call his name Maher-shalal-hash-baz. 38. Who was a Canaanite? 38. Who was a Canaanite king who was defeated by Joshua and the Israelites in the battle at Gibeon? Jabin, Adoni-Zedek, Hadoram, Sihon. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Adoni-Zedek, Joshua 10:3. Wherefore Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhia, king of Lachish, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, 39. Who was the mother of Samuel the prophet? Peninnah, Hannah, Sarah, Rachel. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Hannah, 1 Samuel 1:20. Wherefore it come to pass, when the time was come about, after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. 40. Who was known for his wisdom and wrote Proverbs, but also had a questionable moral reputation? Solomon, David, Hezekiah, Job. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Solomon, Proverbs 1:1, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. 41. What was the name of the king who reigned over the northern kingdom of Israel and was killed by Jehu? Ahab, Jehoram, Joram, Omri. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jehoram, 2 Kings 9:24. And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength and smote Jehoram between his arms, and the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot. 42. Which significant event is marked by the crossing of the Red Sea by the Israelites? The Exodus, the fall of Jericho, the conquest of Canaan, the giving of the law. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the Exodus, Exodus 14:21-22. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. 43. What was the specific item used by Gideon's army to defeat the Midianites? Horns, spears, shields, swords. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is horns. Judges 7:20, and the three companies blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers and held the lamps in their left hands and the trumpets in the right hands to blow withal. And they cried, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." 44. Which king of Israel was struck by an arrow while fighting in Ramoth Gilead? Ahaziah, Jehoram, Jeroboam, Ahab. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Ahab, 1 Kings 22:34. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, "Turn thine hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded." 45. What did God provide to the Israelites in the wilderness to eat? You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is manna and quail, Exodus 16:13-14. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay around about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoar frost on the ground. 46. Which prophet was called by God from a burning bush on Mount Horeb? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Moses, Elijah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Moses, Exodus 3:2. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. 47. Which Old Testament figure lived in the land of Uz and experienced intense personal suffering? Job, Abraham, Daniel, Jacob. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Job, Job 1:1. And there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. 48. In which year did King Solomon begin to build the temple in Jerusalem? The 4th year of his reign, the 7th year of his reign, the 10th year of his reign, the 12th year of his reign. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the 4th year of his reign, 1 Kings 6:1. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. 49. Which item from the temple was captured by the Philistines and later returned with great trouble? The Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the golden altar, the candlestick. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the Ark of the Covenant, 1 Samuel 4:11. And the Ark of God was taken, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were slain. 50. Which king of Judah was known for his extensive building projects, including the fortification of Jerusalem? Uzziah, Ahaz, Josiah, Hezekiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Hezekiah, 2 Chronicles 32:5. Also, he strengthened himself and built up all the wall that was broken, and raised it up to the towers and another wall without, and repaired Millo in the city of David, and made darts and shields in abundance. 51. Which prophet prophesied that a virgin would conceive and bear a son named Emmanuel? Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Micah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Isaiah. Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. 52. Which prophet was known for his conflict with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel? Elijah, Elisha, Jeremiah, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Elijah, 1 Kings 18:36-38. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. 53. What did Solomon use to cover the walls of the temple he built in Jerusalem? Cedar panels, stone, fabric, gold. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is gold. 1 Kings 6:21. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. 54. Which king of Judah was known for his extensive reform and discovered the book of the law in the temple? You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Josiah, 2 Kings 22:8. And Hilkiah the high priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. 55. Which Old Testament figure is known for his interpretive skills, including the interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams? Daniel, Joseph, Nebuchadnezzar, Ezra. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Joseph, Genesis 41:14. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. 56. What was the name of the Moabite woman who became the great-grandmother of King David? Rahab, Orpah, Ruth, Bathsheba. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Ruth. Ruth 4:13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. 57. Which city was destroyed by fire and brimstone according to the Old Testament? Jericho, Nineveh, Tyre, Sodom. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Sodom, Genesis 19:24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. 58. What was the specific measurement of the cubit used in the construction of the tabernacle? 18 inches, 20 inches, 22 inches, 24 inches. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is 18 inches, Exodus 25:10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length of it, and a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. 59. Who was the father of the prophet Samuel? Elkanah, Amram, David, Saul. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Elkanah. 1 Samuel 1:1. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. 60. Which king of Israel was known for his military campaigns and for rebuilding the city of Samaria? Jehu, Jeroboam, Omri, Ahab. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Omri, 1 Kings 16:24, and he bought the hill Samaria of Shemer for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shemer, owner of the hill Samaria. 61. What was the name of the valley where King Josiah was killed in battle? Valley of Elah, Valley of Hinnom, Valley of Jezreel, Valley of Megiddo. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Valley of Megiddo, 2 Kings 23:29. In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, and King Josiah went against him and slew him at Megiddo when he had seen him. 62. Which Old Testament figure received a divine message through the handwriting on the wall? Nebuchadnezzar, Darius, Cyrus, Belshazzar. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Belshazzar, Daniel 5:5-6. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against a candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace, and the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. 63. What item did the Israelites use to mark their houses during the Passover in Egypt? Palm branches, hyssop, ashes, lamb's blood. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is lamb's blood, Exodus 12:22. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. 64. Which prophet prophesied the destruction of Nineveh? Jonah, Nahum, Amos, Hosea. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jonah, Jonah 4:6-10. And the Lord God prepared a gourd and made it come up over Jonah, that it might be a shadow over his head, to deliver him from his grief. So Jonah was exceeding glad of the gourd. But God prepared a worm when the morning rose the next day, and it smote the gourd that it withered. 65. Which significant event is commemorated by the Feast of Tabernacles or Sukkot? The Exodus from Egypt, the giving of the law, the harvest, the wandering in the desert. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is the wandering in the desert, Leviticus 23:42-43. You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. 66. What was the name of the son of David who attempted to usurp the throne from his father? Absalom, Solomon, Adonijah, Joab. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Adonijah, 1 Kings 1:5. Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king, and he prepared him chariots and horsemen, and 50 men to run before him. 67. Which prophet confronted King Ahab and prophesied about the drought? Elisha, Elijah, Isaiah, Jeremiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Elijah, 1 Kings 17:1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. 68. Which Old Testament book details the ceremonial laws given to the Israelites? Deuteronomy, Leviticus, Numbers, Exodus. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Leviticus, Leviticus 1:1. And the Lord called unto Moses and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, 69. What was the specific item Moses used to bring water from the rock at Meribah? His staff, his rod, his sword, a pitcher. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is his staff. Numbers 20:11. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. 70. Which prophet was known for his message of the imminent destruction of Jerusalem? Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jeremiah, Jeremiah 38:6. Then took they Jeremiah and cast him into the dungeon of Malchiah, the son of Hamelech, that was in the court of the prison. And they let down Jeremiah with cords, and in the dungeon there was no water but mire, so Jeremiah sunk in the mire. 71. What specific item was used by the Israelites to signify the end of the year of Jubilee? A silver trumpet, a ram's horn, a golden bell, a stone tablet. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is a ram's horn, Leviticus 25:9. Then shalt thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. 72. Which Old Testament character experienced a vision of 4 beasts representing different kingdoms? Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Daniel, Daniel 7:1-3. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens drove upon the great sea. 73. What specific material was used to make the curtains of the tabernacle? Goat hair, ram skins, fine linen, scarlet yarn. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is fine linen, Exodus 26:1. Moreover, thou shalt make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubims of cunning work shalt thou make them. 74. Which prophet saw a vision of a river with trees on its banks that yielded fruit every month? Daniel, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Zechariah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Ezekiel, Ezekiel 47:12. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months. 75. Which king of Judah is remembered for the miraculous extension of his life by 15 years? Hezekiah, Josiah, Ahaz, Isaiah. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Hezekiah, 2 Kings 20:6. And I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee and this city out of the land of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake. 76. Which city was built as a royal residence by King David and later became the capital of Israel? Hebron, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Shiloh. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Jerusalem, 2 Samuel 5:7. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, the same is the city of David. 77. What was the specific punishment for the blasphemer who cursed the name of the Lord? Stoning, burning, exile, beheading. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is stoning. Leviticus 24:14. Bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him. 78. Who interpreted the dream of a baker and a butler in prison? Daniel, Joseph, Elijah, Elisha. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is Joseph. Genesis 40:12-13. And Joseph said unto him, This is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days, yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto thy place. And thou shalt deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner, when thou wast his butler. 79. What was the number of men who were chosen by Gideon to fight the Midianites after reducing his army? 300, 600, 1,000, 1,200. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is 300, Judges 7:7. And the Lord said unto Gideon, By the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go every man unto his place. 80. What was the length of the gold chain used to partition the oracle in Solomon's temple? 5 cubits, 10 cubits, 15 cubits, 20 cubits. You have 10 seconds to answer. The answer is 5 cubits, 1 Kings 6:21. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. And there you have it. How well did you do? Tally your score and post in the comments. Share this quiz with your family and friends. See you in the next one. God bless.